SMT Nation, we back, and we're going to be talking about T-Mobile's 2023 in this video. If you missed my first two videos, I did the same thing for, well, first it was Verizon, and then the second video in the series was AT&T. I'll link both of those videos in the description. You guys can check out what I had to say as my predictions for the upcoming year. Here we are in 2023, and we're doing the same thing for T-Mobile now in this one. All right, the first thing I want to make sure that I indicate here, I think 2023 is going to be another big year for T-Mobile. They have a huge, massive amount of positive momentum, and I don't think that they're going to mess this up. They obviously don't want to discontinue this momentum. They want to keep it going, keep that T-Mobile Magenta train pushing forward, full speed ahead like a damn train. All right, now additionally, I expect, not just momentum from the sense of marketing, advertising. I think those things are very strong, and I don't expect that to change. But just the general growth of the business. I think in a lot of aspects, they continue to have the most amount of upside potential, being that AT&T and Verizon are so mature as companies. T-Mobile's the one that's really coming up. They were a much smaller company. They were involved much less in a lot of different business segments. Now it's their opportunity to play ball as they enter these new business segments. So I think that's going to be part of what they do in 2023. Now, specific items, I think fixed wireless access, that story continues to be a big thing for T-Mobile. They're a majority share taker. They added over 2 million subs in 2022. We'll get the exact numbers in the Q4 earnings. I think the market's going to respond to that. I think the industry is at attention when it comes to T-Mobile Home Internet. It's a cable crusher. Single-handedly, I think they have probably disrupted cable to the point where cable had to respond, and they did so with some really corny commercials. And it just goes to show you how impactful T-Mobile has become. They have the brand recognition. They have consumer-friendly perceptions, and that's hurting cable. T-Mobile's offering a fair price for a fair service. Expectations should be tempered. We know the limitations to the T-Mobile Home Internet, but they're killing cable, and I don't expect that to change. So I expect another year of 2+ million subscribers added. After this year, I'd expect them to have over 5 million subs, I think. That's a fair expectation. They want to end up between like 7 and 8 million subs by the 2025 year time frame. I think they get there. I don't think it should be much of an issue for them. I do think that they do have to continue to explore better consumer premise equipment, though. All right, so things like the Nokia trash can and the Sagecom and all those other devices, they haven't really been great. That's probably been the best that T-Mobile can do up to this point because they're trying to keep costs down. But in my estimation, all those devices have had issues. They need something better. Look at what Verizon has done with their consumer premise equipment. They're going to have a new device that's going to be water resistant. You can put it outside. That's going to help a lot of people get a decent signal for their home internet. Remember, it's over cellular here, right? So that is definitely something they should be looking into. But the fixed wireless access story is huge for T-Mobile, and I don't think there's any other way you can slice it. It should be another big year for them. Additionally, moving on to retail. I think retail, when you look at, say, for example, T-Mobile's, aggressive promotions, they've been mostly effective. People have bought the iPhone from them. People are buying Galaxies from them. They sell Pixels. They sell Nords for entry-level, OnePlus devices. They do offer a huge selection of free phones on trade-ins and promos. They're pretty competitive there. Are they as good as AT&T's promos? Not really, but they're close. And if you're willing to adopt or take on the premium plan of Magenta Max, they will give you great deals and promotions on devices. So they'll continue to kind of move in that direction. I don't think that should change. They're trying to increase their ARPU, become more profitable, improve their margins. They're a corporation, that are beholden to their shareholders, and they have to explore options to make more money. And that's how they plan on doing it moving forward. I think that'll continue as a trend in 2023. I think additionally, when you look at the retail footprint, expanding into rural America, you look at what John Fryer is doing with that side of the business. They're just trying to put more T-Mobile stores across the country in places where T-Mobile has not had a presence. Historically, places like dominated by the Verizons and the AT&Ts of the world, they have opportunities to win there, right? Bring in a competitor there that previously wasn't. I think also exploring options to maybe go and disrupt areas where US Cellular has a stronghold. They can probably do more at a grand scale, whether it's device promotions or the network. There's a lot of upside for them there. All right, so in retail, I think it's a lot more positive compared to, say, for example, like the Verizon retail situation. I feel like Verizon has created retail opportunities for T-Mobile, right? Better serving the customer, focusing on the customer experience. It just seems like there's a lot more good vibes at T-Mobile, operations and their retail footprint. All right, so I feel pretty good about that. I think when it comes to the network in rural America too, it's gotten larger. It'll continue. I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking, but I do think bit by bit, piece by piece, tower by tower, the network will get larger. It's a tower, a few towers here and there, and the whole Sprint merger integration, that'll continue. There's some Sprint keep sites that probably still need to get finished, upgraded and converted, and that'll make a lot of people happy in those former Sprint markets where T-Mobile really didn't have much of an impact. So that'll be good. That's an ongoing thing. I think, again, T-Mobile literally didn't have coverage in so many places. When you come from nothing, the growth can be exponential. All right, so these are places where historically Verizon and AT&T have already been there. They've historically had coverage there. Verizon has, been away from those towers for a long time, which has created opportunities for T-Mobile. And then for AT&T with FirstNet, they've expanded their coverage, increased capacity uniform across the nation. They've thrived in those opportunities as Verizon has neglected a lot of those areas. But Verizon's coming. They're making a comeback. They're going back to upgrade all those sites in 23 and 24. So, they basically got this 1-year window to try to match coverage and match retail footprint, and then the opportunity pretty much will come and go. But we'll see how that plays out. But my prediction is they will take in the rural space in retail and just in network coverage. I think they'll close the network coverage gap just a little bit. They're still not going to be as big as Verizon, and they're still not going to be as big as AT&T. We're looking at the CapEx and what they're guiding. They're going to reduce CapEx. You would think they would have to accelerate it a little bit to expand the network. They're going to run that cost analysis and see it probably doesn't exactly pay off. So they're probably a little hesitant to build tower sites in the middle of nowhere if there's no ROI. So if you don't really have much T-Mobile coverage now, it might get a little better, but it's going to be a slow process, if at all. Next thing to discuss is the business and enterprise segment. I think they're going to make progress in taking share. I don't know if they'll necessarily overtake Verizon or AT&T. Those are the names when it comes to cellular and enterprise. But I think T-Mobile gets a little bit of a consideration. I think it's wise for these businesses to explore how they can leverage, T-Mobile if they can, a 5G standalone network, different types of use cases. I'm sure there's probably some business deals that can go on that'll beat Verizon or AT&T. They're probably more premium priced than those things. But again, we have seen T-Mobile pull this off, right? We have seen them take some big corporate deals, and these are things that never used to happen in the past. So I do expect that to happen at least with a couple of more business deals in 2023. So my prediction is, they continue to take a little bit of share. I don't expect them to overtake the market. I just expect them to be more impactful and be more of a consideration for more companies. But again, that's just my prediction, and I don't think it's going to be a huge difference maker. But when you're coming from nothing, there's huge gains potentially there for them. And when it comes to consumer mobile, continued growth, continued leadership, the quarters of adding 6, 7, 800,000, 900,000 net adds. I think that can continue, as crazy as it sounds. They are just very aggressive there. They've got the pricing. They've got the value. They can add 3 million customers pretty much annually every year. Does their network hold up? Are they able to provide enough capacity for that growth? They've got first responders that are now getting on their network. They've got free lines that are just seemingly everlasting. They've got home internet users now. They have, the network pass for people to try the network free of charge for 90 days. All those things come into it, but again, it's all part of their consumer mobile growth, and they don't want to disrupt that, and they don't want to change that, so they want to keep that momentum going. They've got the best pricing in the game. They offer the best value. We don't see any price hikes. I'm predicting no price hikes for T-Mobile in 2023. I know a lot of people have thought about this and said, well, after 3 years from the merger, what is T-Mobile going to do? They're no longer beholden to that merger agreement concession of not raising prices. I personally believe, based on the way that they're moving and the things that, Mike Sievert has said, the CEO, it doesn't seem like price hikes are an indication. They use the price locks as a tool, as a strategy to retain customers and gain customers, while their competitors have had price hikes and price increases. So I don't think that's much going to change. I think that's going to continue my prediction there. In terms of the network, the 5G UC build out, that'll continue as a capacity boost. They're getting more spectrum in certain places. They're getting more of the N41, right? They got it through the white space licenses in Spectrum Auction 108. So those should be going live pretty soon. The goal is to get to 300 million pops of 5G UC. I think they get there pretty easily, probably even before the end of the year. So they're currently at like 260, maybe 265 million pops. To get to 300 million, I think should be easy enough. I think they get there in probably October, November. I don't see why not. It should be something they can achieve. At that point in time, maybe we could start to see some small cell integration. I don't have high expectations for their small cells. I think it's more of a 2024 thing. But in places where they have considerable market share, like New York City and Miami and LA and Houston, places where they kill it in market share, they're probably going to start to dabble with it here at the end of this year. So I'll predict that. I also predict the millimeter wave to be very minimal. Really, just in worst case scenarios, you might see them slap it on some of the macro cells or the rooftop sites. We've got like not even a dozen sites in Cleveland. Half of them don't even work, can't even connect to them. They're not inspired by millimeter wave, and I'm not inspired by theirs either. I don't expect it to be much or meaningful, but maybe some situations it might be important for them to do. So maybe they'll explore that. But again, it might be more of a 2024 thing as they try to support their mobile growth, the free lines, the first responders, the network pass. All that high usage needs capacity, and backhaul is going to be a big thing. I'm going to predict they're going to move to a lot of 10 gig backhaul in this following year in 2023. And the reason I think that's going to happen is because they've seen markets become congested. Part of it's been backhaul. Part of it has been spectrum. Part of it has been lack of small cells and density. Another part, there's all these different things. They can address things one by one. T-Mobile's not the type of company that has the CapEx to address 10 things at once. Verizon can do that. AT&T can do that. Their CapExes exceed $20 billion annually, usually. Both of them own and operate their own fiber. T-Mobile doesn't have those resources. So I think that now those things have kind of become real issues. They can address them a little bit in this year. So I think that's going to happen. You're going to see the 10 gig backhaul become more uniform in most of the bigger markets. In some places, guys, they're lucky to get 1 gig, and that's just what's available to these tower sites. We still see rural America with microwave backhaul and those types of things. So there are definite limitations. But, speaking of fiber, actually, I have a prediction. The T fiber in 2023 will be a nothing burger. I don't think we're going to see anything tangible from T-Fiber. The only way I think we hear or see anything from T-Mobile's fiber potential is going to be if there's talks or rumors, conjecture, speculation about some kind of a joint venture. Maybe not to the scale of what we see with BlackRock and Gigapower with AT&T, but I think possibly if they can get the right partner, like what we saw with Pilot in Manhattan with that fiber company, they might need things like that, but at a grander scale. One city, Not to poo-poo Manhattan. That's a big city, right? Like, it's a borough of New York. That's nothing to sneeze at. But I do think that there are better ways to do this. There's better ways to scale, and they need a partner that has overbuilt fiber. So if I'm going to predict something for 2023, it's going to be the rumor and the speculation that they are going to be partnering with a much more national fiber provider or fiber owner. All right, so we've heard the name Lumen get thrown around. You'll hear the words like, or the businesses like Frontier get thrown around. Does that mean like a merger is on deck? Does that mean it's a potential? Do we see joint ventures akin to what we saw with like AT&T? Those are the kinds of things that would have to happen in order for T-Mobile to become, in any way, shape, or form, involved in fiber to premise, fiber to home, fiber to site, whatever. They don't have the knowledge, the experience, or the know-how to do fiber. They are good marketing. They're a good marketing firm, a good marketing business. T-Mobile wins in marketing and advertisement. Fiber, that is a huge unknown. We cannot expect them to do much of that on their own. They're going to need, in my opinion, a company that has overbuilt fiber and bit off more than they can chew and is now looking for a partner, a way to monetize their debts. And I think that type of a partnership with T-Mobile makes sense for them, whomever that is. And I think it makes sense for T-Mobile as well to get involved. It's their grandest weakness in my experience. You can't 5G, you can't 6G without having access to high-capacity fiber circuits. And that's the best way to do it. Economically speaking, being the owner is always better than leasing. So I think that's definitely the case. Now, if I had to wrap this all up, are there some negatives that we're going to see from T-Mobile in the future in 2023? There are some. I still think that there might be some retail losses. There might be some things from the merger that still go on. I don't think that's going anywhere. So it's not all peaches and cream over there and unicorns and rainbows. There's still trouble. There's still things that are negative. But Mike Sievert, Business CEO of the Year from CNN, he's going to do his best to keep the momentum moving in the right direction. I don't think any of that is going to change. The business model, the business plan is not changing. Their ideas of scaling and getting bigger as a company and serving more customers, that seems to be the way that they're moving. I don't expect that to change. Could we see congestion issues from T-Mobile? Yeah, in big cities, absolutely. They grow fast. And the things that allow them to grow in rural America and suburban America are the things that hurt them in urban America, right? The heavy users, the Magenta Max plan, while it allows them to monetize the network more, it also puts more stress on the network. There are a lot of things that T-Mobile's doing to accelerate their growth and add revenue that makes their lives more challenging. There are going to be times where you're going to say, wow, the T-Mobile network is amazing. And there are going to be times where you say the T-Mobile network is congested. And that's the nature of the beast. They grow fast. They take share. And those problems will rise from time to time. Are they ever going to catch Verizon and AT&T in network size? Probably not. It probably won't happen. Are they competitive? Are they good enough for 95% of the people to consider? Absolutely. Look at the numbers. They continue to grow. In order for T-Mobile to be viewed as successful, do they have to pass Verizon in subscribers? Do they have to surpass Verizon in coverage? Do they have to be a faster network than Verizon? None of those things are mandatory. In order for T-Mobile to be the best version of themselves, they should just continue to be the best value, to be the best compromise, continue to offer the best customer care in the market, and they can lead the industry in growth. And that's all they really care about, right? Growing, scaling, being the best version of themselves. And that formula is working for them. It may or may not be right for you, but it's the right move for many. And that's what we're seeing play out in the marketplace. T-Mobile should have a huge 2023. Those are my predictions. What say you? Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, and subscribe for more, and turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links are in the description for all things going on with the channel. Big shout out to my patrons and my YouTube members for supporting me on those platforms. and making content on this channel possible. Y'all are the GOATs. Happy New Year to all, and we shall see you soon on the next video. Peace.